Why Ellen DeGeneres will not get her show back. You have certainly heard by now that Ellen's future on TV is in jeopardy. Allegations have come gushing forth after a few brave employees and others around Ellen went public with their accusations of everything from lack of communication to heartless, ruthless, and even racist behavior. So that's a real bummer for Ellen. Perhaps back in the day before mass communication in the public square was what is today, she could have gotten away with it. There would be certain social circles and groups of people she had burned that wouldn't want anything to do with Degeneres, but that's all. Our current age, when a single tweet can go viral and ruin somebody's career, is a much different story. Thus, the cat is out of the bag and Ellen is just toast. Here's why Ellen's show is done for. We've seen behind the curtain. For a long time, Ellen was able to keep this mean and vicious persona under lock and key while on air. Would occasionally leak out on the screen, but for the most part, DeGeneres only acted like a jerk when the cameras weren't rolling. Now that the veil has been removed and we have all gotten a glimpse of what she is really like, how is anyone going to watch her on air and not be completely disgusted at how two-faced and backstabbing she can be? So like the Wizard of Oz, when Ellen accidentally showed us all her real self, we simply became unimpressed with what we saw, and now she's ruined. Just like the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow, we realize we don't actually need what we thought was her anyway. Nobody wants to work for her. The publicity of the toxic work environment at the Ellen DeGeneres show is going to be impossible to come back from. Popularity and prestige of her long-running show was assuredly a draw for some of the best talent in show business. Many fans of Ellen probably came to work on the show with freshly acquired skills and a zeal for putting in their best work for their hero TV show host. Now that has crumbled. Why would anyone willingly walk into that situation and be accosted for their bad breath or sent home to shower because your boss doesn't like the way you smell? Why would anyone open themselves up to racial comments from Ellen or be given the axe for taking medical or bereavement leave? Why would anyone with marketable skills want to stay? If the show even lasts long enough, we're going to see mass exodus and avoidance of the Ellen fiasco by anyone who can find work on another production staff. It's going to leave Ellen and her cronies with only those employees who are using the show as a stepping stone or who have no other place to get a paycheck. Not a good way to put together a successful team, so the show will decline in quality, causing ratings to tank even more before the whole thing implodes, if it even hangs on long enough to do that. The producer. Andy Lasner has been the executive producer of Ellen's show since it first aired in 2003. He's been featured as a guest or involved in segments regularly over the years. He even took a beating from UFC fighter Ronda Rousey, which makes him one of the braver dudes to get beaten down by a girl. So Lasner has openly stated on Twitter that Ellen isn't going anywhere. I don't believe him, and here's why you shouldn't either. Andy Lasner began his career in television in the mid-90s, and before going to Ellen, he worked on shows such as The Jane Whitney Show, Richard Bay Show, and The Rosie O'Donnell Show. What do all of these have in common? They were all talk shows in the same vein as Ellen, and none of them exist anymore. Furthermore, you've probably never heard of them either. Even if you have heard of Rosie O'Donnell, it's doubtful that you ever watched her show or enjoyed a mere second of her being silly doing yoga with Madonna and asking her audience members stupid questions. That is eerily similar to what we see on Ellen. So Lasner's track record is keeping the show on air for a long time is not good. This mixed in with his seeming lack of remorse or concern for the situation seems a telltale sign that he's in on it. Of course he is. He's at the helm and isn't going to do anything to fix this mess and will instead drive this show directly into the graveyard of forgettable talk shows. Nobody watches the show anymore. At one time, each episode of Ellen's show was viewed by over 4 million people. That's been in the steep decline recently, in part due to the allegations we've been discussing. I think it also may be because people aren't really into it anymore anyway. I mean, how many silly, meaningless interviews can one person possibly do and maintain the attention of the general public? The New York Post reported a 9% drop in ratings at the end of July of 2020, and a steep 29% reduction from the same period in 2019. It is, of course, ratings and viewers that make the television world go round, so no viewers, no Ellen. The show isn't even good. Finally, the show isn't even worth watching. If I wanted to watch people tell stupid jokes, jump out and scare people, put weird things in Jennifer Aniston's shirt, I'll go watch CNN or Fox News, okay? There's just simply no need for Ellen to be crowding the airwaves when we have Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, countless other sources of entertainment. Ellen did issue a statement after much of this came out, explaining that she had always intended for her workplace to be a place of happiness and said, "I'm disappointed to learn that this has not been the case, and for that, I'm sorry. We immediately began an internal investigation and we're taking steps together to correct the issues." Seems like in typical Ellen fashion, she'll be throwing her other executives under the bus in an attempt to salvage what's left of her public image. In the words of JoJo, too little, too late. All right, behind the screen fans, time to let us know what you think. Do you think Ellen is over? Leave a comment to share your thoughts with us, and we'll look forward to another pleasant video together very soon. This is Behind the Screen, signing off.